Good morning traders, welcome to this London session market review for the ICT Silver Bullet on May the 30th, 2023, where as always in the London session we're going to look at the EURUSD Pair, generally because I feel this gives us more volume than trying to look at the US indices like the S&P. Let's jump over to the chart and see what we've got. So I've taken the time to pre-mark out some key levels for us to try and speed this up. Coming straight into the session when I turned the charts on this morning, we can see we're essentially continuing this very bearish trend on Euro. When we come to the charts for the London Open, we can see that we've taken previous day's low out. We've taken the low of Friday out as well, which I'll mark up here. So that was Friday's low. We aren't trying to close back inside the range here. So we can see Asia did just tap the lows and then pull back inside. However, in the gap between London and Asia, we have driven down. We aren't closing back into this range. So this initially puts me into a bearish mindset. Big fair value gaps, bearish fair value gaps, indicating that price is definitely heavy this morning. And so what I want to do is go back in time now and look for areas of liquidity that we may reject from. Jump onto the 1 hour. I'm going to have to scroll back quite a way. Let's turn off this sessions because it just makes things look a bit messy. So we can see on the 1 hour, if we go back, we're looking at March the 20th. We're coming into this consolidation area. So we have a fair value gap here, a fair value gap here. So two fair value gaps just falling in line with this order block that I've highlighted in orange. So these would be areas of interest for me, along with this buy side here, to see how we're reacting around these zones. So we'll jump back to current price action. And what I've noticed, let's go to the 5, is this morning we've come down hit the 50% of the uppermost fair value gap. Haven't hit the top of the order block yet, so we are a couple of pips away from the top of the order block, and we still have this lower fair value gap here to fill. So it does give me targets on the downside, being bearish, aiming to either fill the fair value gap in full or potentially come further into the order block, potentially the 50% mark of the order block, which would be down here somewhere, filling both of these fair value gaps. We are currently rejecting off this large fair value gap here. So we're around 50% again of this large fair value gap. So the candles are respecting the 50% area of the large fair value gap again, showing me that there's good resistance there. Let's put in the New York midnight. That's midnight New York. So if we take the current daily high, drop this to the bottom of where we are at the moment, we can see we've also tapped optimal trade entry here. So there's a couple of confluences for why this may reject at this point, giving us a bearish bias to come down. So we've got 50% of the fair value gap, optimal trade entry. Obviously we're very bearish in the day. We've not quite tapped the order block yet, so we've just missed it, which is always a telltale sign to me. We do have lower fair value gap available, so there's some good stuff to support a bearish bias here. Also, I like to look at the Dixie when we're looking at this, so we can see a similar story with the Dixie. Dixie has obviously been very bullish today. From the midnight open, it has pumped up. We have taken some liquidity here and pulled back into the range. However, we are pulling back into the optimal trade entry again into 50% of this fair value gap. We do have liquidity above us with a 1 hour fair value gap above us and a swing high above us as well. What we can see as well is we can see that we've got SMT between these two pairs. So essentially, when euro is making lower highs, as it did here, between 150 and 215, we should have been making higher highs on the Dixie. We didn't. We made relative equal highs. So we've got a target here as well on the Dixie, or a reason to come back higher. We've left relative equal highs. We're at optimal trade entry. We've had an SMT divergence on the 5 minute between both pairs. Shows me that something's going on. The Silver Bullet hour looking bearish to come take out the lows, take out the highs on the Dixie, which would consequently should push the low on Euro. Aim to either fill this fair value gap or potentially go down, fill the second fair value gap, consequent encroachment of the order block. So let's jump into the price action and see if we can get an entry going bearish. Now I apologise that there's all this stuff on the charts. So we can see prior to the Silver Bullet hour opening, we've left a balanced price range here, which if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that BPRs are my favourite thing to trade from. We've broken structure to the downside, left the balanced price range, small balanced price range here actually as well, which we are rejecting from. Between that candle to that candle, so we've already rejected off a lower balanced price range to come lower. So if we start moving, if we start making fair value gaps coming down, then that would be an entry, I think, for me. We've already broken structure, we're rejecting off a balanced price range coming into the hour. So let's see. Oh, whoa. Didn't expect that. That massive gap down. Okay. So we've left a fair value gap. So just remember that this is the 3 AM candle. We've left the fair value gap straight off the bat. Fair value gaps above us. If we were to take a short from here, our stop would be above this high, so that would be quite safe. Well, yeah, safe-ish in this instance. We're covering the balanced price range. We've got an order block here, and it would give us an easy target to come and take out these lows. So that would be my entry. I would be happy to take that. Just tagged us in, which was nice. So the first candle, instant rebalance of this fair value gap and hit target. So that is a pretty amazing trade. 2 minutes, 1-2, less than 2 minutes, and you've hit your 1-to-1. So very, very nice. And then ultimately, for you guys that are braver, the first liquidity to be taken would be the swing low here. So this would be your optimal trade entry target. If you were going off the optimal trade entry, which would give you, how many points is that? 12.4 pips. Fair value gap. Lovely reaction. So we're still hovering inside this 50% area of this previous fair value gap on the 15-minute fair value gap that we created. Slight retracement back into this order block, filling this fair value gap. Nice reaction away from it. Yeah, really nice. So the optimal trade entry target would have been hit now, giving you a 2.4-to-1 risk reward. Fill the fair value gap on the 15 would give you a 3R, which is filled. And then ultimately, a second target would be holding for this fair value gap here. Rejecting off these fair value gaps, the main order block is up here, so it's the reaction up there that we would be looking at. So now testing the 50% of that 15-minute fair value gap as resistance. Tapped this order block here. Back into the order block. So we've got a strong pullback now. Let's have a look here. So we're outside the Silver Bullet hour now. So the Silver Bullet hour has closed out. We've got quite a strong reversal happening here. And that would be break even. If you hadn't closed out, you would definitely have to be break even by that point, I would have said, because we've taken the liquidity at the bottom. So I hope you found that useful. That's the Silver Bullet hour for Euro USD this morning. We've blended quite a few ICT concepts there together this morning, looking at the optimal trade entry, fair value gaps, order blocks, and SMT as well. So it's nice when you can see all of these things coming together to give you extra confidence for a trade. And it played out well. A really, really nice reaction from the area that we were looking at. And as I say, I would have hit my target in less than 2 minutes, which would have been brilliant. 1% in 2 minutes is just awesome. So thank you for watching. Please leave any comments down below. Like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content. And I'll be back later on today with a review of the US Silver Bullet session, US AM session, Silver Bullet session. Thank you. I'll see you soon.